What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. It is the third day of February, and here we are sitting at about $78.3 thousand. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. And again, I want to talk about the volume, you guys. I want to talk about the volume. And you know what? This chart is not a good chart to represent the volume. Let's go to the volume on Binance or Coinbase. Those are probably the best ones. I'm going to use USDT. Let's just see. I'm pretty sure it has more volume, right? Like yesterday's volume was 42.2K Bitcoins, 42.2K. Coinbase was 21.1K. So a lot of volume nonetheless, and that's in Bitcoins, not in dollars, right? Over a whole day. But what's interesting about the volume, and the reason why I'm focusing on the volume so much right now is, again, if we zoom in, we look at this under a microscope, you know, you're looking at this on the 1 hour time frame, and you're looking at these drops, that's a lot of volume. You're looking at this on a 4 hour time frame, that's a lot of volume. Look at how much, wow, look at how much volume that is. You look at this on a daily time frame, it's not a lot of volume. It's not. We've been boring. We've been moving sideways. We don't remember what a lot of volume is, you guys. This breakout, this volume, I'm telling you, man, if my experience doing technical analysis is worth anything at all, I will stake it all right here, man. This is weird. This is a very low amount of volume, right? You zoom out, you can see how low of volume it is compared to anything that we've seen earlier in this cycle too, right? Volume has just died off since the government shutdown happened, since holidays went away. We had more volume here, and this was still lackluster. Like, this is still, compared to anything else that we've seen in the cycle, we're in some very, very low volume time, you guys. The really interesting thing, I think, is that the most volume in this pathetic little island of not high volume at all, above average, sure, it is above average, but it's not a lot of volume nonetheless. The largest candle, both on Coinbase and on Binance, came in at the low on this candle, which actually closed green and nearly bullishly engulfed the prior candle. That was the biggest, on this breakout, the biggest bit of volume was here, like right as soon as you break it. It just doesn't feel like a breakout to me. I'm genuinely wondering what this week will look like in the next 5 days and 10 hours. Because I wouldn't be surprised at all if we just ate this up. How silly. I don't know. I wonder how silly people are going to feel when they max panicked down here and 7 days later we're back. We're literally back where we started the prior week. And then by the end of the month we're above these highs. I wonder. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe by the end of this month we're not even above these highs. Maybe we're just retracing still. But I do expect that February and March will hopefully be better than January. I very much do expect that February and March will be much better. Starting off February in this fashion, moving down, you guys know how I feel about that. That's good. It's actually good to start the month off to the downside, right? Why is it good? Because now we have 25 days and 10 hours left in this month, and our month looks like this. That's a nice reversal look. That's for the long-term analysts, the people with a lot of money, because the large money, the large profile people, they typically do look at the long-term stuff. That's a good setup. Structurally speaking, you're finding support at prior support and prior resistance, bro. Like, and beyond all of that, your little fancy trading algorithms that use Fibonacci retracement areas, you're right there. You're right at the 236. You're right there. Traders, traditional traders, nuanced traders, people who are using trading algorithms, they're not even trading, they're just letting things do it by themselves. They're paying attention to this level for so many different reasons. It's so significant. And of course it's significant. Of course it is. Look at the structure. It's perfect. And the largest volume we saw, which still wasn't incredible, but larger than a lot that we've seen, was on the very low, where we bounced from. Today we got 9 hours, 28 minutes left. We're below 79K. What happens if we close today above 82K? What happens if the following days continue to go like this? And I'm not saying that that's necessarily what has to happen, but just think, man, we're in this low volume time. We broke out with low volume, but it's deceitful. It seems like it's a lot of volume, and it is. Don't get me wrong, 42,000 Bitcoins in a day, that's a lot of volume. It's nothing compared to what we saw before. It's nothing at all compared to what we saw before. You didn't go anywhere. On your highest volume days, you didn't go anywhere. You just stayed here. You moved down here a little bit. You barely went lower. But this just, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm seeing what I want to see. Let's look at the short-term stuff and then we'll zoom out. I'm just not phased by this at all. And I'm not, the main reason I think I'm not phased is that even though yes, from here we were expecting that we'd go up and we'd see higher highs, we were calling for this price area here. I was expecting the opposite. I did say if we broke 85K, then all hell breaks loose. And well, then technically at that point, that means that we became bearish here. But I was in Texas, so there's no way to validate that. But I did say in my like last video before I left on Thursday, I said if we break 85K, all hell breaks loose. We could really go below this low. And I even did talk about the 236, which is the exact area that we bounced off of. I didn't call for this move to happen. I was expecting the move to happen to the upside. But the way that TA works, if you hit your levels of failure right here, automatically become bearish, right? The point that I'm trying to make is that throughout all of this time, predominantly like this portion, predominantly right here, predominantly this portion, but for all of it, we had mentioned the possibility of seeing a lower low before moving higher. Because, and the reason why we consistently brought that up, I say consistently, it was probably a little less consistent in the second half, more consistent in the first half, but still periodically there. The reason why I brought that up throughout this whole range is because we've seen that happen every single time. So I think the reason why my fear might be a little bit diluted is because I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't calling for this. This wasn't the call, but this was something that we nonetheless considered as a possibility. So because of that, when this breakout happened, I wasn't like, oh my God, we're going to 60K, which makes me want to panic sell here, because if I can sell here and then buy back here, of course I'm going to sell here. No. Whenever we broke through here, we thought, okay, we might go just a little bit below here, which we are, which is actually a perfect area to buy, not a good area to sell. A lot of what I just did there is I'm trying to explain my thought logic, okay? And the reason why I'm trying to explain it is because there's value in what I just talked about there. There's a lot of value in what I just talked about there. And this is from somebody who's made a lot of mistakes in his early days trading and investing. I want to help you people, okay? So just understand, just listen again to what I said here, okay? Let's imagine we're new. Let's imagine we're brand new in this game, okay? This is a good game to play with yourself because, man, you will stand to benefit. You will prevent losses, absurd losses, unnecessary panic selling all the time if you think like this, right? This whole time we at least considered this as a possibility. But for the predominant amount of this time, I believed we were going to go to the upside, right? This was my belief. Typically, if you have a belief and you're very confident in that belief happening, and the opposite happens, that generates a lot of emotions. If you're investing or you're doing things that matters and you're emotional, you are going to make mistakes. Probably. You can't make calculated decisions in an emotional heightened state. It's not impossible, but damn it, it's hard. You know, if you're emotional. The reason why I'm not emotional here, at least I don't feel like I'm emotional here, is because, again, I didn't just say this is what's happening. If it doesn't happen this way, then we're dead. We're dead in the water, right? I didn't just say that, right? Maybe we are dead in the water. Maybe we are going down here. But even still, even from this point, we still understood that we would likely find support here because of all the reasons we've talked about already, right? There's no reason to sell here because why not sell the lower high if it comes? You know, it might not be a lower high. It might be a higher high. There's no reason to sell here. The only reason that there is for anybody to sell here is they're looking at this like some kind of bear flag and they're projecting where the measure move is going to take them. It's going to take them below 60K, down toward that area, something like that. So they're like, I didn't sell here. I messed up. So I'll just sell here so I can catch most of this move down. That's how they get you. That's how they, whoever they are, get you. That's how they get you. They fill your head with this story of where you're going to go. And then you see the results. It's very promising results. But then as soon as you make the move, you sell. That's whenever it reverses. And then you're in this state where you're like, well, shit, I was waiting for this. I sold the low. Now we're back up here. I would have been better off not doing anything. And this is why you'll see a lot of crypto OGs get in this kind of perma-bull mentality. It's good to take profits, but it's never a bad thing to be bullish on Bitcoin or bullish on crypto. With that being said, though, I am bullish here. I'm certainly bullish here. It's hard for me to be bearish here because of all the things we've talked about so far. The support of the 236, prior support here, current support now, prior support at prior resistance here, and the most volume that we saw. By the way, we don't have a lower low right here, right? We have a double bottom, if anything, or not a double low, or not a lower low. But the most volume that we saw on the low itself was was a recovery day, not a day where we broke lower. Just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I'm not buying this. And if this is a fake out, if I'm correct in my assumptions, right? We're in this little zone here. If this is a fake out, we should be moving back into this zone like that, like very, very, very quickly. It's a pretty intense move. It's a very intense move. That's one of the larger weeks we've seen. Where's the volume? That's my only question. 1 hour time frame here. Looking at this. Kind of flat with descending highs. I don't. You know what this looks like? It looks like an inverse head and shoulders pattern, doesn't it? Wow, and the volume is perfect too, guys. That is perfect volume for an inverse. Look at how perfect that freaking birdie is right there, man. It's like a seagull in a movie, right? They've got like these little. Let me draw it better. It's like they go like this, right? Like that. It looks just like that. That's an inverse. What do they call this? It's a inverse head and shoulders, but it's a different type. It's they call it a complex inverse head and shoulders. What is it? It's there's a specific word for it. I don't remember what it's called, but let's just call it an inverse head and shoulders for all intents and purposes. It effectively is, and the volume profile is perfect. I haven't seen a more perfect looking inverse head and shoulders in a while. On the 1 hour time frame, it's not that significant, but still we can get a measure move out of this, right? You take the low of the pattern to the high of the pattern. It's so perfect. It is so perfect. You put that measure move there. The measure move should take you to 84.5K. Isn't that perfect? It's all perfect. Let me tell you why this price is perfect. Because if that's the measure move, you're going to get just above these highs. As soon as you get just above those highs, that's when you're going to sell off. It's like as soon as you get just below these lows, that's whenever you move up. That's what happens, man. That's how Bitcoin's been doing it lately. Yeah, so that's probably our next move. Looking at this on the 1 hour time frame, assuming that there's symmetry here between the left and the right shoulder, I doubt that we spend too much more time here. Can we go lower? Sure. Maybe we could go as low as like 77.2K. Maybe. I don't know if we do, but even if we do break through these lows, I don't think we've invalidated this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I don't know. I mean, is this part of the shoulder here this wick, or does it start here? Or is it here? It's hard to say. But nonetheless, I do expect to move up, and it will likely take us to 84K. You guys, we are going to make this move here, but to the upside. It's just gonna be a BART. Oh man, is that a 7K move? We're at 77K, talking about going to 84K. That's a 7K move. I wonder, man. I hope, because if not, man, if we go lower, that would ruin a really prime setup here. It's possible. Anything's possible, but low volume typically means you're on the verge of breaking out. So we're about to see something fly one way or another here. Let's look at our indicators and see what's going on. 1 hour time frame, the RSI, in my opinion, it looks constructive. Why does it look constructive? Well, you moved up here, you consolidated. Then you moved up here, and you consolidated, right? You've got higher lows, you've got higher highs. We're probably going to move up again. That's probably what's going to happen. Probably. It looks good. I like it here. 1 hour stochastics reset at the oversold zone. Honestly, these look weird. It's just a weird look. There's nothing really to go off of here. Technically, they are bearishly postured. The stochastics are. 19 minutes to go. We're only down 0.28%. I mean, we're a flip of the switch away from this being positive. It's so screwy, and it's on the 1 hour, but you're moving sideways and choppy. The stochastics and the MACD are not going to be helpful. Technically, the stochastics are bearish. Technically, the MACD is bullish, but technically, they don't really matter. They don't really matter right now. So we'll go off the RSI solely on the 1 hour time frame and the pattern. Maintain that bullish perspective. That's what I'm doing. 4 hour time frame here. It looks even better right here. Like, it's such a perfect inverse head and shoulder. It is literally a perfect. You'll never hear me say that. Isn't it funny though? I wonder if now that this is a perfect inverse head and shoulders, if that's the one that will break through. I feel like all these head and shoulders that we've seen this cycle have not been perfect. So I've written them off, and they've actually worked out, and I shouldn't have written them off. Now that this one looks perfect, is it just a trap? Are we going to plummet to death? Oh man, I'm going to look so silly if that's the case. Come on, man. 4 hour RSI. It looks pretty bad. This is a truly bearish RSI. If you're a bear, this is exactly the type of behavior you're looking for. We do have higher highs in the RSI here with lower highs or the same highs here. That is hidden bearish divergence. That might be why we're pulling back over the last 2 4 hour periods. Hidden bearish divergence is not this end-all be-all calamitous event. It's typically insignificant like this, but still it might hold you up, and that's why we're being held up. Sometimes it's continuation, sometimes it is, but right now I'm thinking it's holding us up. Stochastics are bullish in this area, but you have a kind of bearish posturing now. The MACD is bearish as well. The 4-hour time frame is bearish. There's bullish divergence on the stochastics that's played out a little bit. The MACD bullish divergence too. There's good things going on here, but overall the 4-hour does look bearish. I'm sticking with the bullish perspective even still, though. Even still, I'm sticking with the bullish perspective just because of what I'm seeing on the 1-hour time frame. But let's make no mistake, this 4-hour is bearish. It really is bearish. Stochastics can turn around here and come back up to the overbought zone. If we do stuff like that, that's really good. We'll get some growth. It's really good. We'll get some growth. I don't trust this 4-hour look right now, personally. I trust the pattern. I trust the volume. I trust my instincts. I don't trust the 4-hour indicators. If I did trust these indicators blindly without anything else, it would be really hard for me to say that that's the low. It would be really hard for me to consider anything else but lower prices. Let's pretend that I am bearish. Let's do that for a second. If I was bearish, if we were to call for lower prices, where might we go? From a low to a high here. You know, we hit the 1272, went all the way up, came back down, right? To the 1414. Would I take this high? I should take that high, right? Yeah, those are the right levels to take. If we were to find resistance here, which would be weird, but it's not completely weird. I mean, it can happen. We'd likely go down to the golden ratio, which would be all the way down at 71.5K. And that would be a big deal, because now we have lower macro lows. Now, I don't care who you are, there's no denying we're in a bear market at that point. We have lower macro lows. So again, what I just said there is, I don't believe we're going to go down. But if the 4-hour indicators are not lying, if they're not full of crap, and I think they are, I'm calling them out, I'm calling BS, calling their bluff. If they're not, though, if they're telling the truth, we'll probably go down to 71.5K real quick. Real quick, you guys. Daily time frame. RSI at the same levels that it was last time. Stochastics look bearish at the moment. There's some good things going on. Your orange line is sloping up. Technically, the blue line's out of the oversold zone. There's some good things going on. I mean, you're one good day away from both these stochastics getting out of the oversold zone in unison, and that's a pretty powerful signal, typically. Not always, but typically. The MACD is bearish as well. But even though all these indicators collectively are bearish, we typically see this behavior only at the lows. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me show you. So here, for example, the stochastics, right, comes in and out, 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 right? In and out stuff. Right now, you're not in and outing. You're in and inning. You're chilling in here, right? For quite some time. The last time you did that was here. You chilled for quite some time. About the same amount of time that you chilled now. Where was that in the price? Well, after some time, that was your low. That was your low. When your RSI was close to the oversold zone, when your MACD was basically both on the oscillators and the histogram at the same levels that it's at now, and the stochastics looked like this, that was at your low that we had, the low that we had before we sent it to new all-time highs. Technically, this was the low we had, but that was a higher low. So this would have been the lower low, that's the higher low, whatever, but still, a low point nonetheless. Did we move up through the stratosphere immediately? No. Could we do that here? Sure. But just a point there. We moved sideways here, and while we weren't oversold, it's basically the same kind of reading, and look at where we were. We were at the low. And look at the MACD, the oscillators, the histogram level. The histogram is a little bit less red. It was a little bit more red over here where these lows were. But this here, the secondary low, very similar readings to the stochastics there. Similar enough readings with the RSI as well. Similar readings here with the RSI, not similar with the stochastics, similar with the MACD. I mean, we're seeing, again, the reason why I'm going in detail on this, just over this little range we've been in for the last year and a half, I could keep going. We could keep doing this and it would just come up with the same results almost every single time, like 99 out of 100 times. But the reason I'm doing this is because the daily time frame, to me, it does look bearish. This is a bearish daily time frame. But you always look bearish here. You always look bullish here, right? always. And then, so even though it looks bearish, I'm not calling for lower prices. I'm calling for what we typically see with these type of readings, which is a low. I'm calling for a low. And at least at a minimum from here, we should move up to 84K. I think that will just be the first stop amidst many stops on the path higher. But we'll see as time goes on. This last one here, November 21st, everybody and their mother was expecting a V-shaped recovery or plummet to death. Nobody expected this. And this is exactly what we called for the predominant amount of this time over here, right? Little calls and exceptions that I got wrong throughout the whole thing. I'm not going to be perfect, but generally this is what we expected, right? This time, with similar readings, I'm not calling for the same thing. I don't think we're going to do this for the next 30 to 60 days. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I do expect a bit more of a rapid recovery. And that doesn't mean it has to happen today. Maybe we do chill for like a week down here, and then we BART up. Maybe we do. Maybe we do V-shaped recover, and by the end of today, we're at 84K, or we're at 82K, and then tomorrow we're at 84K. Maybe we, by the end of this week, are all the way back above 90K. I don't know. I don't expect this low to have this reaction, though. I expect this low to have a quicker reaction, and if it's not to the upside, it might be to the downside. One last thing, guys. I don't think it'll be to the downside, though. I don't think it'll be to the downside. One last thing. On the weekly time frame here, we go to Bitcoin and we do the all-time history index. Notice here how we're oversold on the weekly time frame. The last time, and what I want to do specifically, again, it's this thought. It's not the last time we were oversold, which was the low, was in our bear market technically, still, but it's when was the last time that we got oversold after not being oversold for a long time, right? When was the last time we got oversold after not being oversold for a long time? It was here. I would compare more here what we're doing with where we were here than I would here. Okay. And I'm taking this from a stance of, are we in a bear market? I don't believe we're in a bear market. I don't believe we're in a bull market. I think everybody's been wrong, myself included. Since November of 2024, we've been in a sideways crab market, right? Just like the people back here were assuming that we were in a bull market or a bear market. Everybody was, well, maybe I was going to say everybody was wrong, maybe up until like this point here. We were just in a crab market, but then the bear market did kick off. Maybe we're in a bear market now, but at least for most of this 2/3 of this is not 3/4 of this. We've been in a crab market moving sideways. Not a bull, not a bear. What we're seeing right now on the RSI is comparable, directly comparable to what we typically see, right here, toward the end of the bear market. Now, was this low the low? No, it was very close to the low. It wasn't the low, but it was very close to the low. I doubt that we do this, but even if we were to do this, is this the worst that comes from it? We just drop a little bit lower and then we recover. If we're in a bear market, guys, understand where we are with the RSI, we don't have a lot more to drop. We likely will not go below 50K if we are in a bear market, which that's scary in itself to even go near there. There's a solid chance that we hold support above 60K too. Maybe even above 70K. Because we're very, very near. You go to the prior bear market before, when was the last time that we got oversold before that? We didn't even get oversold in COVID times, you guys. We got oversold here at the very, very ass end of the bear market. Was this the low when we got oversold? No. We went a little bit lower. But that was the end of the bear market. Right, we keep going back. When was the last time that we got oversold? Not here, but when we first got oversold, it was here. You're at the low. Was this the end of the bear market? No, you actually dropped from 338. You dropped a lot lower down to 170. That was a lot lower. Bitcoin was a lower market cap, more sporadic, whatever you want to say. But this time, no. But if you bought here, I don't think you'd be upset in the next bull market, right? That wasn't a bad time to buy at all. Still, though, the point remains, from a time perspective, you're very near your bear market end every single time that we've gone over this. And that's just the story of it. So what I'm trying to say here is, let's say you're watching this video and you don't agree with me. You're panicking, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe you're seeing clearly and I'm crazy, and that's fine. If I am crazy, if I'm wrong, even still, the amount of bear market we have left, guys, it's very minimal, both in a time perspective and in a price perspective. It's really interesting to see what's happening here. I would still believe if we were in a bear market that we wouldn't find the low until Q3 at the earliest, which would then imply that we do move sideways for quite some time. Maybe we move up and then we move sideways and then we slowly move down, maybe, and then it's August, September, October, whatever, this time frame, and that's when we find our low. Maybe we do something exactly like that. I don't know. We give the false inverse head and shoulders look here, and then we break down. I don't know. And then because we break down, everybody freaks out right at the low, and then we move up. It's a tale as old as time itself. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to go lower. And again, the main part of this weekly time frame is to somewhat entertain the bears, but to also entertain the bulls. We don't typically see this stuff unless we're at the very ass end of the bear market. And I don't think that we're in a bear market. I don't think that we're in a bull market. I think we're in a crab market. So we're in kind of uncharted territories because I don't think Bitcoin's ever moved sideways for this long in its history, ever. So we're kind of in uncharted territories with that. I don't know if this reading means that we're in a bear market or if it just means we're at the end, the ass end of this consolidation phase, and maybe now it's time to get our freak on. One thing's for sure, though. I do assume that when we break out to the upside, we will move at a higher velocity than what we saw here. We'll move at a higher velocity than what we saw here. We should be rapidly approaching 130, 150K, higher than that in no time at all when we do break above this level here. If we break below this level here, we will likely rapidly approach prices that are around 60K, if not, what was it, 50, is it 52K, 57K? What is it? From a low to a high, 56.6K. That level there, the low areas there, the 382, which also directly correlates not just with these lows, but these prior areas of resistance. I could see that happening. I have a very hard time imagining Bitcoin goes below 50K ever again in its life. Even below 56K seems a bit extreme. I'm not even there yet, though. I think it's going to take time, right? We're probably not just going to make one fell swoop move down there. At the very least, we would consolidate more and then move down, right? It's going to be some time. And we'll know. We'll know as time goes on. Our opinions can be subject to change. I can be bullish here and expect a move like this, a V-shaped recovery, and then if we do this, 2 months from now, I could expect a downward move. Things can change. And the charts will help guide us if those things do change, hopefully. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.